Hello everyone, and welcome to the second video installment of my upcoming canoe voyage. You're viewing beautiful images of Carpenter's Bluff Bridge, which separates Texas from Oklahoma approximately 80 miles north of the Dallas-Fort Worth Metroplex. This lovely bridge provides safe passage over the Red River. I anticipate paddling under this very bridge later this fall. Invariably, when I share my plans to canoe from Montana to Dallas, the question of why is asked. This is a fair question. There are many reasons. The ultimate physical and mental challenge, an opportunity to retrace Lewis and Clark's steps, the excitement of visiting a beautiful stretch of country I've yet to experience, the Upper Great Plains. But primarily the reason is it's a function of taking advantage of the liberties that I am afforded as an American. And the reason why we are all afforded such liberties is a result of our American predecessors, our founders, the early American patriots, those individuals who have fought and in some cases died to preserve our way of life, and of course our heroes currently serving in the military. With this in mind, I set out to the Red River to meet Brian Fleming, a true American hero, a veteran of the War on Terror, and to me symbolic of why I'm able to take this journey. He is brave, smart, articulate, humble, and it is my honor to have Brian as the first and most inspirational guest of my voyage.
Ron, I appreciate it, man. Thanks for having me.
Welcome to the voyage. First of all, thank you for taking the time out of your day to come out here and speak with me about your history.
Hey, coming out to a place like this is never a burden, so no worries there.
Yeah,
and I think what you're doing is totally cool.
Thank you. I appreciate it. Well, I learned of your story, and when I hear of stories like yours and other veterans, it really inspires me, and it really makes me want to be a better American in a lot of ways. So I thank you for that. So I think one of the reasons why I was so gravitated towards your story is you really don't take yourself terribly seriously. You're known as blown up guy. Is that right? Where did that come from?
Well, I'm one of thousands of guys who have been blown up, in the War on Terror, in Afghanistan in particular. After I got out of the hospital after being injured by the suicide bomber in Afghanistan, people started asking me to come talk about it in front of their churches or their organizations, and they would never remember my name. But they would always say, "Hey, aren't you that guy who got blown up?"
You weren't just blown up once; you were blown up twice. Is that correct?
Yeah, I was inside of two different vehicles that were blown up, completely destroyed. The first one I walked away from completely unscratched. We ran over a bomb that was buried in the road. It blew up the vehicle, set it on fire. I had to drag one of my guys out who was partially conscious. Fortunately, both guys who were injured returned to duty a month later.
Right.
The second one actually injured me. A suicide bomber in a minivan pulled right up next to my door in my vehicle from about me to you, and he blew himself and his van into about 10,000 pieces, and that's the one that injured me. I woke up in a ditch on the side of the road, burned and bloody, in Kandahar. I had no idea where I was.
So you were blown up once, or there was an attempt to blow you up once.
Oh, they did.
I stand corrected. I apologize. So
they attempted successfully.
Okay, fair enough. So between the first time you were blown up and the second time, did the thought ever cross your mind, hey, do I get an out here from the Army, or did that change your mindset or your level of awareness or fear factor?
I think it definitely drove home the reality of war more, because we'd been in country for about a month at that point, and we hadn't actually made any enemy contact at that point. But that was a very indirect sort of contact, and it does cross your mind. When will it happen again? You're on these dirt roads, and sometimes you can't go off road due to the terrain. You roll your vehicle over in the mountains, and so it definitely crosses your mind. But you don't talk about it. You just go out and do your job, and what's going to happen is going to happen. But we're here with one focus and one mission, and that's to take them out,
right,
and to neutralize that threat to our country.
Right. Now, what inspired you to join the military?
Well, in high school, I was actually on track to go to college and become a doctor. That was my plan. And I still have a lot of interest in that field, though I have no intention of pursuing that at this point. My first week of my senior year, that all changed. My intentions of going straight to college. I just felt like I should dedicate at least 2 or 3 years, and I ended up doing 4, but just a few years of my life to protecting and preserving the freedom we had For me, it was more I felt like a hypocrite because, and I'm not saying anybody else has to feel this way, but I had been to several foreign countries at that point in my life early on, and I know how the rest of the world has to live. In this thing called America, this isn't normal anywhere. And there are other countries that have freedoms and stuff, but it's not like America, and I knew that. And I think that's one thing a lot of Americans miss. They've never been out of the nation. They've never been outside America, and they think this is normal. Yeah. This is not normal. Yeah. Anywhere in the world, by any standard, this is not normal. And even with all the issues our country has and whatever the case, it's still the best place in the world. Yeah. Hands down, no competition.
Yeah, and one unifying factor of everybody, whether you're Democrat, Republican, Libertarian, is the freedoms that we enjoy. Yeah. And that's a unifying attribute of being American. So I'm just simply trying to take advantage of all those liberties. And as you say, this isn't normal. Yeah, the fact
and we should take advantage of those because many places in the world, they don't have the right to take advantage of that. Right. I mean, some countries, you come down the river on a canoe, and you cross under that bridge, and you get hijacked by the government and their militias or gangs, and nobody really does anything about it because they're competing with the government for control. Right. I mean, there are a lot of places in the world that do that. Here, you don't have to worry about that. Yeah. And even though you're going interstate through several states, you don't have to worry about that. Right. Those aren't several different countries with jurisdictions and their own policies. Like in Europe, the amount of states you're going through, you could go through most of Europe. Right. On a canoe. Yeah. But you're doing it in the same country.
Okay. Talk a little bit about your post-war experience.
Well, yeah, I mean, I spent 14 months at Brooke Army Medical Center. Burn treatment. They had to scrape my skin off with razor blades, my burn charred skin. Stuff like that. They keep you awake through it.
You say that so nonchalantly.
I told the story so many times at this point, but honestly, it was the absolute worst experience I ever had in my life because it was actually the only time in my life I ever prayed to die. And I thought to myself, my wife will be fine. The only thing I could think about is being unconscious and being out of my body, not experiencing that physical pain. I remember the head nurse looked at me and he said, Sergeant Fleming, we're going to do this as quickly as possible so that it will be as painless as possible. Right. And him and about 3 other nurses all took out razor blades at that point, and I didn't know they were going to do that. I had no idea what he meant. And they did it as fast as they could, which was about a half hour, which to me was an eternity.
So today you're an inspirational speaker, a keynote speaker. You'll go out and speak to corporations.
I speak to churches, corporations, colleges. I mean, pretty much anywhere. People relate to pain. Right. That is something, no matter what language you are. I've spoken in foreign countries. I've spoken to people who don't even speak English. But through the interpreter, they understand.
Probably more clearly, too.
Yeah. Or even, I've been in audiences where there is no interpreter, and some of the people don't speak English, but they see the pictures. Right. And they sort of get what's going on here. Sure. And so it even transcends the language barrier in many cases. And, I mean, for me, seeing other people's lives made better because of something horrible that happened to me, that's what gave me the fire to move forward in life, because I saw that my worst pain was gradually becoming one of my greatest assets for good. And the key there is that my situation instantly became not about me anymore. I wasn't looking at me. I wasn't looking at my pain. I wasn't looking at my issues. I was focused on the fact that what I went through was helping somebody else. Whatever happened that day, I told Dave Rieger, my original mentor, I told him, I said, I don't know how to do this, but I have to keep doing it. Right. Like, I didn't know how, and it didn't matter how. I was going to keep doing it. I knew I absolutely had to. It was a foundational point in my life. Right. And he said, don't worry about it. He said, I'll show you how. And having been doing that 35 or 40 years at that point, he knew how, and he taught me how. And my life is better, and I'm able to have that influence because better people than me came into my life, and they reached out to me. And that's one of my main missions, is to reach out to other people and to be that person in their life like my mentor was to me. Yeah. But when you have that thing in your life that happens, and it's really a wake-up call. And for me, it made me realize on a whole new level that life was about something much larger than myself, at a whole different spectrum of comparison. It's a right that we have. And again, going back to your original point, this great country, this free country we get to live in, right. I get to speak my mind. I get to speak my opinion. And I get to tell people about my reason for my hope and what made the difference in my life. And in other countries, you're very restricted in many cases where you can't speak your mind. They're going to put a gun in your face and they're going to throw you in jail if you say what you want to say. Yeah. And here in America, I burned and I bled for that freedom, and so did a lot of other people, and better people than me have died for that freedom. And we get to enjoy that here.
Yeah.
Did, and you're right. Most people don't come out of those explosions physically as well as I have. I've recovered extremely well physically. You can't look at me and tell what happened. I can show you the pictures and tell you the story, and then you'll see it. But that's not typical. And I've often thought about that. I've often thought, why was I so lucky? Why am I not disfigured? Like a lot of my friends were, even though they survived. And I don't ask why anymore. It's just how it happened. I don't feel bad about it. At first, I questioned it, but that was out of my control.
Right.
And honestly, most of my friends I know who are horribly scarred and disfigured, they have more jokes than I do. I got one friend, man. He tells he was stripped of the skull, his whole body burned like 80%, and he'll walk up to fireworks stands on the 4th of July, and they'll say, "Oh my God, are you okay? What happened?" And he said he'll just be like, "Man, whatever you gave me last year, give it to me then. That was good stuff, man. I want more of that." And he'll just freak them out and laugh with them, and he'll tell people he's Freddy Krueger's cousin. And I mean, the guy's
the sweater and everything.
Yeah, his name's Bobby, man. And he's just a great guy, and I have all kinds of friends like that. So I think if I was missing legs and limbs or burned worse, I'd just have more content. Because it's all about perspective.
Yeah. So as I understand, you're from Michigan originally, right?
I was born and raised in Jackson, Michigan, about an hour west of Detroit.
So let's have a lightning round here. Bob Seger or Madonna?
Well, from Michigan?
Yeah.
Bob Seger.
Who do you prefer, Bob Seger or Madonna?
Bob Seger.
Midwestern values or Texas pride? How about?
I love the values I grew up in, but when it comes to the food down here and the hospitality, the South has got it.
Yeah.
If that answers your question.
Yes. Well, I'm originally from the North too, so I have Massachusetts pride, and I love my Red Sox. I love my Patriots.
Oh yeah.
I love my Texas too.
I love being in the South. It's a great place. Yeah.
It is. It is. Canoe or kayak?
Kayak.
Lewis or Clark?
Both.
Fair enough.
Don't go anywhere alone.
Meeting the 43rd President of the United States, or meeting me here down on the Red River?
Meeting you. We get to. I've met you both, so I win both ways.
There you go. Exactly.
Yeah.
Brian, more inspirational, you serving your country and ending up in Afghanistan.
Excuse me, guys. Did you say you're going to be gone for 6 months? I was wondering if I could live in your house while you're gone. I'll cut the grass.
Pat, I told you last week.
I'll cut the grass
not
for you.
staying in my house.
All right, well, I just thought I'd offer,
Pat,
both benefit, that kind of thing, you know what I'm talking
No,
about?
I'm fine.
Who's
fine.
your friend?
Thank you. This is Brian.
Hey, I'm
Flynn.
Brian.
Oh,
How
hi,
you doing?
Brian. How you doing? Nice to meet you.
Do you live down here or something?
I live in a van down by the river.
Oh, wow. So you're like a real life guy. Like, are you in Oklahoma? Because that's Oklahoma right there.
Hang on a second. I think I got a fish. I got one.
Well, it looks like he's living under the rocks right
All
there.
right. Well, see you later.
Pat, thank you.
Thank you. Do you know that guy?
He told me his name. I really don't know him. So as I was saying, more inspirational. You served your country.
Yeah.
And ended up in Afghanistan. I'm experiencing our country, ending up in Montana. What do you think is more inspirational?
I think they're equally inspirational because there's a cause behind each of them, and both of those takes a great amount of personal belief to be involved with and to actually carry out. Because either way, they're both a great risk and a great undertaking, and they'll definitely leave you in a life that you never could have lived otherwise. You'll learn things while you're on this journey, as I learned things while I was at war that I never could have learned any other way. That will make you a better person. And so you should very much look forward to that. And I don't look at them as one way or another. I look at them as apples and oranges, and I think they're equally inspiring.
Yeah.
I think they're equally something great.
Yeah.
And I know you're going to come out of this a better person and with lessons learned. And I hope that we get to talk when you get back and hear about some of your greatest lessons that you took from that experience. Yeah. Because that's what will change your life, and it'll change other people's lives as well.
Yeah. Brian, you are wildly inspiring. I greatly appreciate your time this afternoon.
I look forward to seeing pictures and hearing all about it. Thanks for having me a part.
Check out Brian at blownupguy.com.
That's correct.
Thanks so much.